Hello. Yes. I don't believe we can hear online, but I just see everyone raising their hands. I can't hear any of you all.
Chris, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Sorry, it's like 4:30 over or sometime. It's
Oh, no,
4
you're
a.m.
good.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you all now. Thanks.
España.
Sí,
Okay.
España, España.
Um, okay, yes, Tommy.
All right. I motion to add an appointment for Vesta Majub for the ASUCLA Board of Directors.
A second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. All against? All abstaining? With a vote to 13 to 0, that motion is approved. Tommy again.
And then I have another one. I motion to appoint Sarai Rojas to the ASUCLA Board of Directors.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. All against? All abstaining? With a vote to 13 to 0, that motion is approved. Tommy again.
I motion to add a presentation on CalPERG's 2024-2025 end of the year recap to the agenda, please.
You don't need the motion.
Oh,
It's not an
okay.
action
Can I
item.
add that? And then also, can I motion to add a resolution calling for the recognition of National Gun Violence Awareness Day to the agenda?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against? All abstaining? With the vote to 12 to 0, that is approved. Are there any other amendments? Okay. Great. I'm blanking out, sorry. So I have to approve today's agenda?
Someone needs to motion to add your summer
I have an
schedule as an
amendment.
action item.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Motion to add discussion. Motion to add discussion. Motion to add discussion about USAC's summer 2025 schedule
Second.
As an action item.
as an action item.
Okay. And then approving today's agenda, right? All in favor? All right. Yeah. Bethany?
Hi, can I please strike capital contingency allocations as well as contingency allocations?
Okay, good. And then, yeah, Jonathan, I have to approve today's agenda, right? Okay.
Make sure that it's updated on the actual agenda first. So if Tommy needs a second, you can give Tommy a second.
Wait, I have my hand raised. Sorry, I don't know if y'all can see.
Chris?
Yes. Am I being called on?
No, you have your hand up.
Oh yes. I want to strike travel grant mini fund and academic success referendum.
Did you get that, Tommy?
Oh, I love y'all's smiles. That's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Could we, I don't think that you guys voted on adding the discussion for summer hours.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Can someone motion for a discussion? Yep.
All right. I motion to add a discussion for USAC summer meeting schedule onto the agenda as an action item.
I second the motion.
All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, all abstaining. With a vote to 13 to 0, that is approved. Are there any other amendments? Yes, Bethany?
Sorry, I also wanted to strike contingency programming allocations. I don't see it. Thank you so much. On the agenda. Thank you.
Any other amendments? Okay. We need a motion to approve today's agenda. Is there a motion? Go ahead.
I motion to approve the June 3rd, 2025 USAC agenda.
I second.
All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against? All abstaining? With votes of 13 to 0, that is approved. We are now moving on to the approval of the minutes from, tell me, do you have them? Do we have the meeting minutes, Jonathan?
Yes.
What are the dates? 20th and 27th. And then those don't need to be approved, right?
They do, but they're consent items, so you'll ask for opposition for each one.
Great. I'm gonna hope that everyone's had the time to review the minutes, but if there isn't any opposition, then that is approved. Now we will be opening up public comments. Please challenge the ideas, not the individuals. Gender inclusive, please use gender and inclusive and respectful language. The freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes and the opportunity to speak once. Please do not use any dehumanizing language. With that, we are going to start and open up public comment. Please raise your hands and I will call on you. No public comments? Seeing as there is no public comments, we are going to, oh yes. Yes.
Hello. Okay. Hello, and thank you for your time this evening. My name is Fio Fabiano, and I am a third-year History and African American Studies student, as well as a member of UCLA Students Demand Action Chapter, and I am here to support the resolution to acknowledge Gun Violence Awareness Day. Students Demand Action is a branch of the organization Everytown for Gun Safety, which focuses on advocacy and education work surrounding gun violence prevention and safety. Unfortunately, gun violence is an epidemic that has spread across our nation with little growth in legislative action and change, while the access to firearms and assault weapons has made it easier for people to obtain guns. As mentioned, gun violence is one of the leading causes of death in the United States for people ages 1 to 19, and we as an organization aim to educate the general population on how to get involved with gun reform policies at the local, state, and national levels. By supporting this resolution, we as students and residents of the United States take action to educate our community, honor those who have lost their lives to gun violence or have been personally affected, and unite against the movement that fails to protect individuals against mass weaponry. Completing this important step at the higher education level is crucial in our path to gun reform and education. As of today, SDA has presented and passed these resolutions at the city and county level to honor June 6th as Gun Violence Awareness Day, and we hope that USAC and UCLA will follow suit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Should I turn off the microphone or?
No, you can just leave it there, leave it like that. Is there anyone else here today for public comment? Seeing as there's no public comments, we're going to end public comment at 7:17 p.m. We will now be moving on to funding allocations. Sorry. Anthony's is done. ARC. Wait. We get that a motion? Is there a motion to approve ARC? Jonathan, do I have to motion? Or is it just Divine? Is Divine here?
I can present for ARC and then
Okay.
you can motion to approve it. ARC recommends an allocation of $1,500 to one non-USAC individual or organization, sorry.
It's a consent item, so you can just ask for opposition.
Is there any opposition? Then that is approved. Does the same go for TGIF, Jonathan?
TGIF recommends an allocation of $217.04 to 2 non-USAC entities and 0 USAC entities.
TGIF, you don't approve at all, so you can just move on.
Perfection. Now we will begin our special presentations with Soul Advisor Training from Orlando.
Hello, everyone. Today we will be giving a quick overview of all things Soul. I know there will be some information at the back end as far as signatories go, but I will go into that more detail during my presentation later this day. But we are very lucky to have one of our best Soul advisors here for the presentation, our very own Pamela Seisner, and I will let her introduce herself. Do you want to do it right here?
I can sit here. You can all hear me, right?
For Zoom.
Oh,
You need one of these.
okay. Are you ready for me? Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Pam Seisner. I'm senior advisor in Seoul. I go by she, hers. And just so you know, a couple of the entities that I do advise in USAC include CAC, CSC, SWC. I also am the advisor to J Board. So I'm kind of behind the scenes on all those entities. Before I begin, one thing we always do at a Soul workshop is we want to acknowledge our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and ceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. Because again, we are here as their guests, and we think that's very important to Soul and to all our organizations. So we always do that when we do presentations. So if you have not, all of you in USAC have been assigned a Soul advisor. I cannot say enough, the most important thing is to meet with your Soul advisor. Our job is to help you get through all of the different approvals, all the systems, all the everything that we do here at Soul. So if you have not connected with them, please do so before the summer occurs, because I think that's going to be extremely important. Also, before I begin, because I know some faces and I know names, but it would be helpful for me to also hear kind of the officers and who's in the room if I don't very quickly. So could you do that for me?
So can everyone just go around and present them?
Very quickly.
Introduce themselves really quickly. We can start with Edison.
Hi, Pam. You've already met me. I'm with.
Edison.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Hi, Pam. Thanks for being with us here today. I'm Talia. I'm Gen Rep 1.
Hi, Pam. I'm Daniel. I'm the CEC commissioner.
Oh, you're going to get to meet with me and Chris quite often. Yes.
Hello, my name is Nico Maroney. I'm the Financial Supports Commissioner.
Hi, my name is Sherry Zhao. I'm the External Vice President.
Hello, I'm Joy Huang, and I'm the Facilities Commissioner.
Hi, my name is Haram Yoon. I'm the Transfer Student Representative.
Hi, my name is Diego Boyo, and I'm the USAC President.
Hi, my name is Tommy Contreras. I'm the USAC Internal Vice President.
Hi, Pam. You already know me. I'm Jia, the new General Representative. I'm so happy to see your face again today.
Yeah, second time today. We're bathroom buddies in Kirkhoff.
Hi, I'm Kia Tanna. I'm the International Student Representative.
Hi, Pam. I'm Hannah, the Student Wellness Commissioner.
Hi, Pam. My name is Brett. I'm General Representative 3. I spoke at the Transfer Day Seoul panel.
Yeah.
We've met briefly before.
Yeah, very popular panel that weekend. So I hope you all know what SOUL stands for, right? Can somebody tell us what SOUL? It's right there. Student Organizations, Leadership, and Engagement. And again, we're thinking about what can we do for you? What is it, what support we provide? So this is why I say it is so important to get to know your SOUL advisor, to spend time with them, even just to kind of drop in and give updates. We register all organizations. So also, and Orlando will talk about that with USAC entities, but also USAC needs to be registered because we need the updated information in order to send out contact information. We are here to help you with the different resources for your organizations and your programs. And again, USAC has some special options that other groups don't have, but it's also our job to help you with additional things for your programs, events, and activities. We help approve your events and activities. We need to know what you're doing in order to approve them. As we know, this campus does not like surprises, and so again, it's our job to get through that red tape with you and help you do it. But we also work with you on mentoring and leadership development, and I think there's definitely one person in here who can talk about that from his past experience many moons ago when he was in USAC, and some of the role that I played and the relationships we have developed over the years. And also understanding funding, because all these different funding entities have different guidelines, policies, etc. So again, you're familiar with USAC, but we're going to help you with the other things too. And of course, all of those wonderful policies and guidelines on campus that are probably changing daily, but we are there to help you with that too. We also work with us. It's not just about what you're doing in program events, it's about leadership development. And this is one of the things that for me and my groups that I spend a lot of time, it's not just about what you're doing, it's about what you're learning from the experience, your leadership development. How do we translate those skills when we leave UCLA? Not just what you do here. So there are things that we do throughout the year. There are things we can do as sole advisors specifically to your different entities, workshops that we hold. In the fall, we have a big, what we call Day of Soul, where all the basic workshops are offered. It's really beneficial, especially if somebody is new to programming, to attend that. All the information will always be on the Soul website. We also have a couple of things that we recognize. The Charles E. Young Humanitarian Award for Community Service. There are things that are very important on this campus when we talk about the pillars of UCLA, and service and leadership in the community is a pillar. So these are things that our office thinks about very highly and is very important to us, and we actually honor students and recognize them to do. There's also a program we do in our office called Bruin Leaders. It's a great program, again, to give you different leadership skills and ways to get involved and ways to present things. And so it's an opportunity not just for you as USAC, but also maybe for your staff or other people that are your directors or appointments. So again, things and opportunities for you to think about that can benefit you. So again, what we do when it comes to resources, it's about the funding. Everybody always wants to know about money, money, money. That's the first thing that groups, when we meet with them, and again, our office, 1,400 groups, 6 of us to deal with them. Bear with us at times. We will get back to you. Money is big. So again, having the most updated information, especially with USAC, with guidelines, with deadlines, with updated applications, beneficial for us and makes our job easier. Risk management and safety. There are things that we talk about that are possibly risk. And again, this is about the safety of you as signatories and your members and attendees. So again, these are some things that we sometimes talk about. Edison, we know we talk a lot about that with community service when they're dealing with anybody under 18 years old. We want to protect our signatories, our students, for them to still do the excellent work. We also are very good at networking. I may not know the answer, but I know who to call. So again, if you don't communicate things to us as your advisors, we can't follow up and find those resources. Things with marketing and trademarks. You're lucky because you have Jonathan and Lorelei that will help you with this, because there are things, again, that the university requires, so you can work with that. Reservations. Think about all the activity on this campus, limited places. Again, our job is to help you work through that, but you gotta do things in a timely fashion. I'm gonna be honest, nobody is gonna do anything same day, week of, whatever. No exceptions anymore. There's just not the staffing, there's just not the ability to make that happen. So again, the more you can talk to us, the better, and other kinds of resources. So I'm just going to touch on this because Orlando's going to go on to it. It's more about what are you responsible for? We look at you as the signatories, as the leaders, as the contact for us to your groups. We cannot talk to every member of our 1,400 groups. That ain't going to happen. We look to you to understand that and be that conduit. And if some of this stuff isn't clear to you, ask us. We will help explain. So we look to you for doing this. And there are different kinds of policies. I'm not going to go into all of them because I'm sure you're going to get your own training on this in many ways. But things that are very important is about student conduct, not only as individuals, but as a group. There are things as groups that you need to be aware of and that are done through the Dean of Students office. Things that we consider hazing. I actually still have groups that I have to talk to about activities that they're doing and why this is considered hazing. Hazing is basically when you do something that makes somebody in your group feel uncomfortable, putting them in that position. We want to be careful and that you don't have the complaints against you or your organization. And again, one of the big things is sexual violence and harassment. Our community service groups are mandated to take care training through the care resources on that. Again, it's about protecting you and your staff and everybody in it. And this is along with what we call Title IX, about reporting. Now, sometimes people say, oh my God, UCLA's numbers have gone up. But that's actually a good thing because that means people are comfortable reporting, which is what we want to do. It can be done in a safe way. It can be done in an anonymous way. Again, your best contact when something like this occurs is your sole advisor. We will help you work through it. We will give you options. We will explain the process. And it'll be something that you are comfortable with. But also know that when you do this, they're going to do an investigation that they're going to talk to all parties involved. So it may take a bit of time, but just to understand that. The Dean of Students Office and the Title IX office may also give interim suggestions during the time that they're looking into the cases. But again, it's your protection, your group's protection. And I'm going to add, this is not just for on campus, this is also off campus. So when you're having retreats or anything like that, again, you're still representing UCLA. These are things you want to be aware of. And so again, different resources that we have here. And again, all of this is on our website. Or again, I say your mantra when I do these for new groups is talk to your sole advisor. We're going to help you work through all this. So I keep going. Now, as I said, one of the things that we are having to be a little bit more intentional about is time, place, and manner. Okay, go back to this.
Hey, let me just, no. So the University Policy 110, the use of university name, seals, and trademarks, there's a very specific policy that governs that with registered campus orgs. USAC doesn't necessarily fall into this category, but there are some nuances. I'm the advisor that approves those. So in the past, I've had to kick back designs because there was something you all missed. So that's the reason Pam skipped over this one. But so for this particular area, you should always reach out to me just to make sure that there's no delays in your trademarks. I think I even talked to Divine and CAC. There's one thing I had to kick back for them. So, but yeah, please talk to me when it comes to submitting trademarks. Thanks.
Thanks, Orlando. So time, place, and manner. This is something that has been changing, developing, etc. A lot more attention on it, not just by the UC system, but from other entities around the country. UCLA has had to take additional heightened responsibility in looking at time, place, and manner. There are questions we may ask, and it's important to always be upfront with us, tell us honestly about what is going on, in order for us to best recommend the safest way to do it. What we're trying again to do is following the university's guidelines at this time, that could be changing, and making sure your event is safe, is inclusive, open to everyone, and also follows our principles of community and true Bruin values. You've got to remember when new students come in, they're taking all these trainings in understanding what this is. And again, as USAC, it is important to be inclusive. Whether you agree with opinions or not, this is your goal. And your goal is to educate others to maybe see different perspectives and points of view. I'll be honest, I don't always agree with some of the missions of some of my groups. They're very different from my own. But do I work with them in still being able to program because they're meeting university guidelines? Absolutely. And again, we're here to help you through this, but it's very, very important to tell us honestly about what may be happening. What is always challenging, and I'm just going to keep it real in here, is when we get calls from other administrators saying, we saw that this group is doing, or this entity is doing, or this entity has posted, then we have to deal with it in a different way. We ask that you really take this really seriously to see about how we work with these new guidelines. And again, they may be changing. These are interim guidelines at this time. Event planning, that's when you do a lot of those kind of programs. We've got great resources also in this room, but your sole advisor is your first stop. You need to tell us the who, what, where, when, and what you're doing in order for us to help you go through the stages and to think about these different things. Your target audience, where it's taking place. You know, sometimes we have groups who want to do things outside in the middle of winter where it's going to rain. Let's think about this, okay? Your timing of this. Is it accessible to people? Can they all go? What do you think you have to consider? Do you have people under 18? Are there liability, risk, and insurance issues we need to go through? We can help you go through all of that. Accessibility is also very important right now, and we got to think about this. Daniel, there's stuff we'll do with Bruin Bash that makes it available, depending on the venue we choose, et cetera, how we advertise it and what accommodations we will make, because that is extremely important. Because we sometimes have to think about, is everybody able to go here and enjoy this? Is it? And thinking again about your target audience and what you do. There's verbiage that we can use. We have a great office that can help you with certain verbiage and access and things we can do. But again, let's talk through this. So as you know, there are different places to do reservations. ASUCLA, we know, for Ackerman, Kirchhoff, and also Bruin Plaza is actually coordinated by the SOL office. In our office, you will do that. For USAC entities, we generally will send out information about scheduling Bruin Plaza a week before we open it up to all groups. So just keep this in mind. If your advisor says now's the time, jump on it if you want to use Bruin Plaza. Recreation, you got the Queen of Poly right here. So Lori can always help you with anything with recreation and all their venues. The events office is for other campus entities, including Wilson Plaza and other areas. So again, different offices, different guidelines, different systems, bear with us. And then there's always On the Hill. Our office also schedules Meyerhoff Park, which is our free speech area. So that also is when there's certain things that are more political, et cetera, we do have a venue that can be used for that. So again, what SOL can provide. The process, pretty simple. You make the reservation. They send you an EOL, an events online. Fill it out when you get it so you don't lose that reservation. We can't all be following up with all 1,400 groups on this. You got to work with us here. If you get it, fill it out, send it, because it has to go through different systems, like the fire marshal has to even approve it before your SOL advisor gets it. So I don't get it till he okays it. So just make sure you fill it out. Also, if you change it, if you cancel it, let the events office know you're canceling it so you don't get a ding against your group, because they will count that you didn't communicate. And again, we don't want that to impact you. You should be very familiar with different funding sources. You know the ones that you do as USAC, but also just some that are very important, that our graduate student groups also have funding sources. And SOL also facilitates Campus Programs Committee, Community Activities Committee, which all the community service groups go to. There's Campus Life Support through Student and Campus Life. There's Green Initiative, there's Healthy Campus Initiative, and Residential Life. Again, talk to your SOL advisor if you're interested for your programs in these other sources, and we're going to help manage that. But it's important that, again, communication and to do it in a timely fashion. Then also, as you see, fundraising. You see groups out on Bruin Walk and the different Court of Sciences, and also in the plaza. Again, we have systems for this. Think about 1,400 groups doing what they want when they want. Could get a little messy out here. We also have, with fundraising, a pretty strict environmental health and safety person who will shut you down and fine you. So we don't want that to happen either. So please work with us. You can also have donations and sponsorships. Again, you've got to be careful, work with Jonathan and Lorelei as USAC entities when it comes to that, because they have guidelines for you. They will help you do it the right way right at the beginning. That's important. There's also Spark campaigns. So many of the groups try to do this. Many of our culture groups do this for their big culture shows, try to raise money that they can use. You know better about advertising than we do. But one thing I ask as a USAC entity, make sure that your advertising is consistent. We've had things where it said one thing in one place, another in another place, and it's confusing. And poor Lorelei, Jonathan, and others I call and say, well, can you tell me when exactly is the deadline? Because I'm confused. So again, make sure when you're updating this information, it's consistent. So let me see. So again, I think you're familiar with what are the basic needs for students. We have a number of different areas that support students who are in need. If you also don't know yourselves and you want to talk to your SOL advisor, again, this is confidential, this is anonymous, we will help you through that process. So now I'm going to stop talking because I could talk a lot, and I'm going to leave it to any particular questions you may want to ask me.
Thank you so much, Pamela and Orlando, for your presentation on SOL. Does anybody have any questions for either of them? Orlando?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add on what Pam is saying. I know, especially for some of maybe the newer ones are questioning, like, when do I go to ASU CLA? When do I go to SOL? I mean, the simple answer, and I think Pam hit it already, just ask one of them, whoever your SOL advisors or ASU CLA. I know you meet with ASU CLA on the regular, but when you want to program outside of ASU CLA facilities and resources, that's usually a good indicator where you may want to include your SOL advisors, particularly if you're looking to reserve spaces outside of ASU CLA. But as you can see from Pam's presentation, you have feet directly in ASU CLA's camp as well as SOL's camp. So we complement one another. So it's important for you to recognize that you do have that. You can definitely come talk to me about the differences if you don't have any questions now. But just to know to definitely lean on SOL advisors. We do have a lot of information for you. Those that are lucky enough to have Pam. Pam has been with us many years, and she enough years for her to provide you some great feedback and advice. But yeah, I just want to kind of mention that.
Sort of one thing along that line, we work together a lot. I mean, I can't tell you how many emails go back and forth between us. Did you get this? Do you know about this? Do you know about this? And many times we'll actually schedule meetings together that we're all on the same page. So even, you know, we're working very collaboratively, and we're making sure that everybody is involved in the discussions and up to speed. So just so you know that that happens too quite a bit, or at least I do it, but I know others do it also. They probably get sick of getting emails from me, but I keep trying. Oh, I'm not sick of you either. I like
Not
when you
yet.
come by.
Not yet. Oh, does anyone else have any questions or other nice comments? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Pamela and Orlando, for your presentation. Thank you. Thank you. We will now be moving on with Nico's presentation on financial transparency viewer presentation. Woo! I think I've seen this presentation before. Wow.
You're so right. That's awesome. All right. Hey, everyone. So for those of you who were here last year, you've seen this before, but for all my new friends, the big thing that FSC is working on is financial transparency between USAC and the student body. In case you don't know, we have over like $10 million budget, and that is that comes solely from student fees. So it's really important that students can like see how this money's being used, where it's going, et cetera, because it is their money, and we are just like facilitators of their money. So that's why I'm all about financial transparency. So starting off, if we go to our lovely USAC website and we click on budget, this is like how we see our finances, and then we hit SGA budget report, our lovely budget report comes up. And this is how we display our finances currently. Now, Jessica, no hate, but this is really confusing to read for me as like someone who does finance a lot, and probably for you guys who look at this to figure out your account codes. So if it's confusing for us, it's definitely confusing for our student orgs. So just like I'm gonna pull up mine, 1501 for FSC. You can look at it, it's like a lot of numbers, it's kind of confusing. The big thing in my opinion is it shows I have $3,000 right here as like my total office budget, but that's wrong because I did budget transfers, and those don't display on our budget report. So you can't really track any budget transfers, which means it looks like I only have $3,000, but really I had like 7,000. So that's something it excludes. It also kind of just like says expenses and doesn't really say what for. I mean, it says spring retreat, but like, what if it wasn't for the spring retreat? Because you know, we could spend money on other things. And then it's just confusing. But don't not fear. We have our USAC Financial Transparency Viewer. What? Yay. So this is FSC's like first phase of financial transparency, which if you scroll down, you can see it says this is version is phase 1, and it's still a work in progress. So we're working on it. But this is just how we are working towards full financial transparency between us and the student body, which I touched on earlier. So I'm just gonna walk you guys through it. And at the end, I'm gonna have like a little ask for all of you guys, but that's for later. So starting off, you can see like our USAC budget. So fun fact, last year our USAC budget was $10.5 million, which is crazy high. Fun fact, it is way more than Berkeley's. And then you can also see our funding approval. So this counted how many funds, like how many approvals we did in USAC. So when we were like, I motion to approve contingency for XYZ. That's how many like student orgs have received funding from us. So you can see it's a lot. And then also our student fees, WOMP. That's what students pay us. So it also shows how much that is. And it also shows that it increased from last year. What? Oops. Anyway, so this is boring. The message from the commission we skip. And then here is the fun part. So this shows like all of the different like things we show. I'm gonna start with student fees. I feel like a lot of students don't know that they pay money to USAC. And if they do, they don't really know how much or where the money goes because it's just like 1 or 2 line items on the Bruin bill. But if you click here, you can see the full breakdown. So this kind of gives students an overview of how much money they're paying and to like which entity it's going. So if you're ever like, how does TGIF get money? Well, every student gives it $3.60 per quarter. which then gives it an operating budget of $350,000. So you can see all of that info. I mean, you can see like Bruin Bash, $1.36 per quarter, et cetera, and it kind of shows everything. So this helps students see what they're paying for. And then we're gonna eventually link all of these to show, like if you click on it, it will take you to like the website or like the resource on it. So if you're ever like, what's Bruin Bash, you can click on that and then it will take you to like the Bruin Bash website or whatever. So that way students can also see like if they're paying for a resource, how they could take advantage of the resource. So for example, they could click here on CAC Arts Restoring Fee, and then that would eventually take them to the guidelines so they could apply to utilize the stuff that their student fees fund. So that's just to give some transparency on like what their money's going towards. Campus fee breakdown. You also pay campus fees. This one's still a work in progress, but fun fact, your student fees don't stop at USAC. It also goes to the campus. And then I don't think this one we're still working on too, but this will eventually show like USAC's full budget. We approved that in like August, so you guys will see that later. But yeah, that's student fees. My opinion, the more important one is funding bodies. FSC works with a lot of student orgs on like, we call it funding office hours, but we walk people through how to apply for funding bodies, where to find them all. Another fun fact, on our USAC website, you can go and see if you have funding programming, you can see our funding bodies, but this is not a complete list of every funding body. There's some on my UCLA, there's some through ResLife. I've recently learned about the Poly one through Lori. The funding body list goes on and on. So we're trying to put all of the funding bodies at UCLA in one spot. And you can see it's a work in progress because we only have the USAC ones. But eventually this will show every single funding body at UCLA for people to look at. And then if they click like for BOD, they can click on it, they can get the blurb, they can get the timeline, and they can also, which is fun, look at everything that has been already approved from this funding body to see what each funding body funds. You can see like BOD is supplies, facilities, equipment. You can also see how much money people are getting to like kind of like see if you need like $10,000. You probably shouldn't like only rely on BOD because their allocations are only in like the hundreds and sometimes like 5,000 there, but like maybe they just got lucky. So this will show that, and then also at the bottom, it will give a breakdown and it will show how many remaining funds are left, which we're still working on. A lot of funding bodies run out of money and then people continue to apply and then they just get denied. And they put all that work into an application just for them to get denied because there is no more money in the funding body. So this will tell them like, hey, if you need $5,000 and this funding body only has 1,000 left, you're not going to get 5,000. So it allows them to plan ahead before they spend a lot of time applying. And then also if you hit apply for funding, it will take you to the application. So fun. So this is going to be like a one-stop shop for every funding body at UCLA once it's up and running fully. And then FSC is going to do funding office hours to kind of walk people through this so they're able to see every funding body at UCLA because there's a lot more and they're hard to find. Okay. And now we go into the new part, which is USAC commissions. So all of us have money, and all of that money does, once again, come from student fees. So at least in FSC's opinion, it's important for students to be able to see where that money is going and how we're utilizing it as USAC entities. So we are going to start working with all of you on an individual basis to see what financial transparency looks for you guys, and then how I'll like help you guys if you are interested in displaying your guys' finances up here however you'd like. So it's like each commission can kind of do on their own. If you don't really want to do financial transparency, totally fine. I won't bother you. If you do want to do financial transparency, oh my gosh, fun. I will totally meet with you and talk to you guys and like find a place where we want it. For example, for FSC over the summer, I'm gonna like budget all my, like once we have the final budget, I'm gonna do like individual budgets for all my programs and then put that up. And then like by quarterly, it's like twice a quarter, I'm gonna update those budgets with my expenses and kind of like show just what I'm spending money on. So that way, if anyone's like, what's FSC up to? They can see, they can also see where their funding's going. And then like for larger USAC offices, like I know like, oh my gosh, for Community Service Commission, tracking all your guys' money would be really hard. Like if you just want to do like how much you budget for each event, that would be totally cool. For like CEC, if you just want to be like, we spent this much on Bruin Bash, totally cool. If you want to be like, we spent this much on Charlie XCX and 20 whatever, cool. Like I'm so down for that. But whatever you guys are up to is just making sure that we are being financially responsible, making sure that we are making this connection with the student body so they can see how we are utilizing their money. And then also just the big part of this is helping student orgs find all the funding. So that's what this middle section is like by far the most important because funding at UCLA can be tough. And we want to make sure that every student org has accessible access to figuring out access to figuring out how to use or find funding bodies. So that's kind of just like a brief overview. I'll give more updates throughout the year, but I want to put this all on your guys' radars as we start our terms and how with like our big meeting over our budget coming up in August, so you guys can start thinking about like how you want to transparently display your finances. So yes, that's all.
I have a question. So I'm sure that like this, actually I have two questions. When do you think this would be like up and running, like formally?
Oh, like fully?
Yeah.
Well, my goal was for today, but that came and went. It's hard to track down all of the funding bodies. So my goal is to have all the funding bodies done, hopefully. Like as we approve the guidelines again, we have to update each guideline. But hopefully we can have all the guidelines up like before first quarter, if that's when all the guidelines are approved in USAC. And then for USAC commissions, that's gonna be like a full year thing since it's gonna be like working with you guys. So hopefully by the end of, well, my goal is for sure by the end of my term. And then to also put this in a place where it can transition onto the next FSC and then kind of be like a legacy thing for students. But yes, that's kind of like the goal. It's definitely ASAP. Sorry, that's not really an answer, but.
You're good, yeah. And then my second question is, like, I'm sure that this is obviously going to be used by like a lot of student media groups like the Daily Bruin and just regards to transparency. Is there going to be like opportunities for like USAC offices, commissioners, or like, I guess the other funding bodies to give like comments and like text on like what it was used for?
Yes, of course. For USAC commissions, it's like totally up to you guys as like the representatives of your finances to do whatever you want. So that's like, well, I'll do whatever you guys want to do. And then for funding bodies, I'm more than happy to work with the funding chairs if they would like to give more info. The funding body pages come from like we get all the finance stuff from the USAC funding spreadsheet that we have on linked on our agenda. So that's where all that money and like all that info comes from. And then we just put it up in like pretty purple color on our page to make it easier to read and follow. And then that way it's like more organized. Well, it's not more organized, but it's just easier to follow. So you're not looking at a spreadsheet.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Orlando.
I love it. I love it, Nico. So just really quick, as you're putting together your funding, the MyUCLA page, that is the page that sole advisors use. So with any updates, it doesn't hurt to have multiple spots where all the information is. But as Pam said, we got to try to stay as consistent as possible. So whatever you all do for your updates for your proposals or your funding should be passed over to me and Chris, so we could update the MyUCLA page. So both sections have it. The MyUCLA page is actually a really great spot for looking at the comprehensive list, because those are the funds that as I said, sole advisors always lean into. I always pull up the USAC pages too, because I noticed that there's been some inconsistencies on both sides. But yeah, if we can get on the same page at the beginning of the year, I think that would be great.
Of course. One thing with the MyUCLA one, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure only signatories can access it. Maybe.
Choose me. Choose me.
Jonathan.
Thank you. When you send your updates for the USAC website, I have admin access to all of the MyUCLA funds also. So I will also update your MyUCLA funds at the same time.
Okay.
So just send it all to me.
Cool. The reason we also want to display MyUCLA though on the financial transparency viewer is because I think you need signatory access to access it. And sometimes people come and they're like the funding director for their club, so they don't have signatory access, so they're not able to see all those funding bodies. So in this way, they can see it all. But I know what you mean. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, no, and the reason for that is that we had that strict kind of policy with only signatories can submit certain things, funding, room reservations, etc. So yeah, but we can definitely talk about maybe finding a way for non-signatories to actually get a list as well. So
we'll talk.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for Nico's amazing presentation? It was amazing. Thank you so much, Nico. I'm excited to see that come into life. Now we have CalPERG special presentation on the 2024-2025 academic year projects. It should be on. Just turn maybe.
Oh, yep, I think it is. Okay, awesome. Alrighty. Okay. Hi, guys. A lot of y'all have met me before, or at least heard from me before. Hopefully, I'm here like every week. My name's Gunnar Roth. I'm the vice chair of CalPERG. As Diego just mentioned, I will be going over the year-end review of CalPERG as an organization over the course of this year. This is something that's written into our contract with UCLA and with USAC, and is also something we just like to do to make sure you guys are all updated. All right, so getting just right into it. Over the course of the year, we have done a lot of really awesome stuff, both as UCLA CalPERG individually across UCLA, and also throughout the state. For our chapter specifically at UCLA, just over the course of this year, we have managed to recruit 25. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, boss. Thank you. Oh, we good? Hey, thank you so much. Okay, awesome. There we go. Now I don't need to hunch. Anyways, what I was saying is through our recruitment drive, we have managed to recruit 2,500 new student members across UCLA campus who financially support CalPERG and fund us every quarter through their fee through the Bruin Bill to support the work we do representing them, which is really awesome. Additionally, this year, as we all know, the fires happened in LA. CalPERG, over the course of the 2 weeks that we were off campus, managed to raise $6,000 remotely to help those who were affected by the fires. Additionally, across the state, we were able to collect 6,000 petitions to expand protections for our oceans, the expansion of marine protected areas, which for those of you who don't know, marine protected areas are like national parks in the sea, if that makes sense. California is known for our oceans. It's a huge priority for us, and we managed to get 6,000 petitions from students to help expand those MPAs. Additionally, through our hunger and homelessness campaign, we've hosted a number of amazing events, ranging from a benefit concert that was hosted just a few weeks ago, featuring UCLA student bands to raise money for the LA Women's Shelter, to a number of great service events like our volunteer work in partnership with Gen Rep 2 for Nourish LA. We've done all kinds of awesome stuff like that. We've also held a number of events for Youth Earth Week this week, which included our awesome No Bee Plate Without the Bees event. I don't know if any of you guys went to that. The honey was delicious. And we also got to host a beach cleanup for LA Oceans Day, where we hosted a press conference and beach cleanup in Santa Monica, and also a sustainable fashion event where students could learn how to fix their own clothes, which is actually where I sewed this patch in my jeans, which is really cool. Anyways, now on the lobbying and policy side, we had a statewide lobby day where CalPERG from across California went to Sacramento to talk to Assembly and Senate offices for our district especially to expand MPAs, Safer Food Packaging Act, and protections for clean energy. We also had a national lobby day where our officers, including Layla and Betty, whom many of you have met, got to go to DC to speak to congressional offices to lobby on affordable textbooks, making our waterways safe for swimming, expanding access to clean energy tax credits, as well as the right to repair our devices. And next year, we have even more stuff planned. We have 5 major campaigns as our LA chapter, including our Save the Bees campaign, Protect Our Oceans campaign, Zero Hunger campaign, New Voter Project campaign, which has actually been running for over 40 years now, and the one that I'm very biased about, the LA 28 Olympics Sustainability Campaign. I look forward to working with all of you as student leaders in the future towards a better tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time, not only tonight, but throughout the other previous weeks that I've been here talking y'all's ears off. Good evening and good night.
Woo, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you, thank you. That's it, everyone. And we will be moving on to appointments. We will begin with our ASUCLA Board of Directors full member appointee, Vesta. Vesta, if you would like to come up, please, to the microphone. I'll just give you a brief rundown of how this is going to be structured, as well as for the council members. So all appointments get a 1-minute introduction, and then after they give their introduction, council members will have a 15-minute question and answer period. After that, the appointee has a 1-minute closing, and then the ARC gives recommendations, and then finally, council gives any deliberations. And then during this time, you can share why you abstained in your ARC meeting, give any comments you'd like. Please be respectful, and then we're going to be motioning to vote. With that said, Vesta, you now can start your 1-minute introduction.
Hi, my name is Vesta Matthew. I'm a sociology and IDS second-year major at UCLA on the pre-law track. And I was interested in being a part of board of directors because I wanted to be someone who can amplify voices and make sure that our community and our campus is a space that everyone feels heard and welcome in. Through my leadership experiences, I've been able to work on different skill sets that I believe will help me in this position, whether it's budget management, community engagement, strategic planning, etc. As I've been working on CAC sector of the word for the last 2 years, I've been able to amplify voices of students through activism and given them a platform to talk about the student body needs, things alike. And I've also co-funded and been the director of finances for the Persian Pre-Law Association, president of the Middle Eastern Law Student Association, Save the Children, etc., that have all helped me with these different skill sets. And I want to be able to use this position as an opportunity to once again make sure everyone's voice is heard and everyone is included.
Thank you so much. We will now begin the 15-minute question and answer period. Does any council members have any questions? Yes.
Hi, thank you so much for coming in person to your council interview tonight. We really do appreciate your presence and you being here. I was at your ARC interview. My camera was off because I was at work. I'm so sorry. But as you know, ASUCLA BOD is notoriously exclusive of transfer students. The Office of the Transfer Student Representative for the past 5 years has been advocating for a 1-year-long position to be created specifically for transfer students wishing to serve on BOD, and yet the fight has been an uphill battle. So what are your opinions on a 1-year BOD term specifically for transfer students, and how would you partner with TSR to ensure that this can become a reality?
I understand that the transfer students have not been as represented as many of the other more traditional students who've been on the 4-year path. And I believe that's something that can definitely help me be able to represent those students better and be able to communicate their needs better as well, is just being involved and engaged in their community. As someone who's not a transfer personally, I feel like I've been able to meet a lot of different transfers, whether it was through their events, through different organizations, or even friends of mine, including George, who is actually serving on the board of directors currently and is a transfer. And I've been able to, based off of personal experience, understand the different student needs and what people are thinking, because once again, being a non-traditional student, it means that no matter how many resources you have, you might still be underrepresented or misrepresented because of the fact that you weren't able to get as much time and experience and resources dedicated to you. And this has been my answer for many of different questions when it comes to how will different groups of students be represented. And I believe that communication and being able to provide the representatives of different student groups, including transfers, to have the opportunity to speak about their needs and what they believe about different decision makings, different spaces, and how it will impact them and what their personal opinions are.
Yes, Talia?
Being here today. I was just wondering if you could share like a specific event or instance, like in your time in leadership in different student orgs or CAC, where you did amplify student voices, just like a specific kind of maybe thing you were involved with.
I feel like, for example, CAC being an example of it, being a part of the word, it means that you get an opportunity to create those spaces for different students to be able to talk, since ours is like spoken poetry, talking about different feelings, different things about different groups of people. And I feel like this year we've been able to do that a lot, especially with the Middle Eastern population, as there's been a lot of different pressures, a lot of different situations where a lot of students have been feeling underrepresented or feeling like their voices are not amplified enough. And through talking to different students and being able to listen to their needs and how they believe that the campus and the student body can support them better, we've been able to plan events that are more according to those needs, whether it's like the topics that we bring to the table or the speakers that we request to come by and talk about their views on it. And it creates that open space, that open mic space where people can talk about, again, their needs, how they feel about how they're being represented, what they believe can happen where they can feel more welcome at UCLA, which is, I believe, the main priority, making sure that every student feels both represented and welcome in this space and in this campus.
Yes, Nico.
Hi, Vesta. Thanks for coming out. My question is, ASUCLA brings in large amounts of revenue every year, and as a nonprofit, this income must be reinvested into the students in ASUCLA. How do you plan to use your vote to ensure this income is used to uplift and support the student body?
I feel like as you've been talking about this today, the main thing that can help throughout all this process is the transparency of it because UCLA students are paying a lot of money and they want to receive an environment and a campus that can provide the support and the resources and the activities that they need and they want to see every day. And I feel like once again, talking to different representatives of different groups of students, whether it's different clubs, different culture groups, different organizations, people can like have their voices heard more through those representatives of those different groups, what they want to see, different events that they want to see personally as an Iranian student at UCLA. For example, that ISG culture show that happens every year. That's something that I value a lot because I feel like I'm being celebrated. My culture is welcome here and I feel represented as a student here. And I feel like once again, different groups, when they voice the things that they want to see happen at UCLA, and when they are able to have a say in how the budget works, even if it's not directly, and if I just become a bridge of communication between those leaders and how the budget works, I'll be able to make sure that they see the changes that they want to see with the budget that they are paying for.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions for Vesta? Oh, yes. Okay.
Um, Especially right now, international students face a lot of legal insecurity and, in general, a lot of financial precarity. So, which would include like work restrictions and housing insecurity, limited aid. How would you use your position on the board to ensure that these, how are some tangible ways you would use your position to ensure that these realities are reflected in the budget and service decisions?
I think one of the main things that can happen in order to make both UCLA aware of, once again, the struggles of the students and needs of the students, and also make the students aware of what they can do in order to get help during those tough circumstances can be providing those resources. I know that, for example, once again, for the war sector of the CAC, we did something similar where it was during the times where everyone had fears of deportation and like misrepresentation for the international students who felt like they weren't getting that security of being able to stay here and continuing their education. We were doing a red envelope like card event where we were providing resources in all different languages for students and their families where they can understand what resources they have, what opportunities they have to receive that support and to get legal help, things like that. And I feel like being able to work with different, once again, student groups and being able to provide those resources where the first step is for students to understand the position that they're in and what they can do on their own. And through that understanding, what else can UCLA do to support their students? Because it's not only something that the students and their families can do on their own, but it's something that I feel like UCLA owes to the students to be able to support them because they belong here and they're part of the community that runs this campus. And being able to hear their voices, hear the struggles, and to understand what further steps we can take to provide them, whether it's financial security, understanding the systems better here. I personally, as someone who comes from a low-income background, through different challenges with when I was like worrying about FAFSA, things like that, I wanted to find out more about resources that I could get in the event that I would not be able to pay for my college and that the government would also not be able to give me funding. And I feel like having those resources available and advertised more often can help that a lot.
Thank you so much. Yes, Tommy?
Sorry. So my question is, in the coming year and in past years, USAC, a lot of the projects its council members have undertaken required collaboration with the ASUCLA Board of Directors. That being said, how do you plan on maintaining a relationship with USAC in the coming year and working together on shared initiatives?
Sorry, I want to make sure that I understand it better. Could you explain the question?
Yeah, so basically just how do you plan on maintaining a relationship with USAC, if any, and collaborating on potential initiatives in the next year?
Because once again, I believe that I'm more of like a part of that chain of command where I can help amplify those voices, which means that I cannot be like making all of those decisions and necessarily I won't have the knowledge and resources that will help me contribute to all of like fixing all of those issues. And I believe that through the resources and to being able to talk to different USAC members who understand different sectors of how UCLA is structured and how everything works, I'll be able to use from the knowledge that I've gained through talking to the different students and representative, things like that, understanding what's needed and communicating that with a broader group of people who have had that experience and who understand more about details of the structures of every decision making, every aspect of how this campus works and how students are supported to be able to make those changes, because it is a collaborative effort to make sure that everyone is once again like represented, heard, and all the needs are met. And to be able to support and represent and serve the student body, it's something that I would be able to use the resources given to me by USAC members and the personal like understanding I have of the different needs to work that together and to be able to make those changes happen.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes, Nico again.
Hi, Vesta again. I was hoping you could expand on your previous experiences in USAC offices and other leadership positions at UCLA and how you plan to prevent these experiences from creating any conflicts of interest if appointed to this position today.
Of course. This one might be like a little bit of a lengthy answer because I feel like I've been involved in so many different communities, but I have once again worked for the ward sector of CAC for the past 2 years, and I'm applying for the director of it actually next year, which will help as like a co-director to be able to like run things smoother from personal experience, understand how things work more efficiently. For the Middle Eastern Law Student Association, this year I'm the media coordinator, and next year I'm going to be the president of it. And it's been very helpful because not only have I been able to like represent the Middle Eastern students and the pre-law students, but also because of how tight-knit the pre-law community is, I've been able to work with different law organizations as well, like a new one that's the first gen one, and also the Latinx pre-law club, which I've been able to facilitate different collabs with, and to be able to once again understand a different viewpoint of needs of students. And next year, once again, I'll be serving as president for it. And I'm on the board of the national organization that we've created for MELSO. And we are starting different chapters around different campuses across the US. For Save the Children, I am the education chair. And I'm going to be president of it next year. And I've been able to once again gain more knowledge about how it feels to work with an organization outside of UCLA, a national organization, and run a chapter of it. And for the Middle Eastern Student Association, I was an intern this year, and next year I'm going to be the PR manager. And that has helped a lot because it is such a lot of pressure on the board because of how many events there are, how many things happen on a daily basis for like the events that we do and the things that we create, which also, even though I was just an intern, I learned how the budgets work, how to like plan different things, reserve different things, a lot of logistical stuff and how it's structured. For ISG this year, I was a board shadow, and I was able to help facilitate some of the social events, and just generally, I helped the philanthropy chair with some of the events that happened. And those were the main experiences that I wanted to touch on. And also the Persian Pre-Law Association, which I helped co-fund. And I was the director of finances this year and will continue my role next year. And I think that's something that helps with avoiding conflicts of interest is the fact that although a lot of these are like Middle Eastern organizations, Iranian groups, things like that, once again, through these positions, I've been able to talk to different groups as well. Like, for example, once again, for MELSA, I was talking to the Latinx Club, the AAP Pre-Law Club, all of them. And I feel like I'm still able to get involved with different student groups and not just be hyperfixated on one part of the student body.
And then Talia, and then who else? Oh, Talia goes first, and then we're gonna have to motion to extend the time.
Thank you for that thoughtful answer. I'm just kind of wondering, like, as the student rep on the board of directors, you're obviously going to come across a lot of different student needs, and sometimes student needs that conflict. So how do you plan to navigate that to make sure that all voices are kind of being heard, but you're also effective and making progress with your decisions and contributions on the board?
Right. I don't think there's ever a case where one voice is more valid or should be heard over another voice. And I do believe that everyone deserves representation. And when there is a conflict, when there's something that is contradicting, I believe that there's always going to be a solution where there can be a common ground of things that we can do to serve both sides without harming any other side. If there's some conflict between two different groups, I don't think that there's ever a situation where one side has to completely be dismissed and the other side will get everything that they're asking for and everything they're requesting. I believe that yes, there are going to be conflicts of interest, different opinions, things like that. And the thing that matters is to make sure that the decisions that are made at the end of the day, even if it's not exactly and specifically what is being asked for by one side or the other, it is something that everyone can mutually agree on, things that are not harming any side and will amplify both sides and will make sure that both sides are still getting something out of the communication and the efforts that they're putting into making their voices and their communities heard.
Thank you so much. Do we have a motion to extend the time?
I motion to add 5 minutes to the appointee designated time.
Second.
Period. All in favor? There you go. Chris. 13. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Lower your hands, please. All against. All abstaining. With the votes at 13 to 0, that is approved. We will add 5 more minutes.
All right. Hi, it's me again. From what you were answering about Nico's question, it sounds like you have a lot on your plate being president of 2 organizations next year and holding leadership positions in many others. So just briefly, how will you ensure that your board of directors responsibilities are being prioritized adequately to ensure that you're being representative of the students that you're chosen to represent?
I think that something that definitely makes me feel more confident about this is that although it sounds very chaotic and very insane, I had a lot of responsibilities this year, some that I'm not even continuing next year, including like being the financial director and social chair of the Swana Pre-Health Club and being involved in different organizations as well and shadowing different boards. And I feel like even though I had a lot on my plate this year and I was taking 5 to 6 classes every single quarter, plus my internships and everything, I was able to handle it very well to make sure that I'm not dismissive of any of the responsibilities that I have and I'm making sure that everything gets done. In the instances that I feel like something was too overwhelming for me and things were not working well and I felt like I would not be able to do my job as well as I believe that I should, I was able to very clearly communicate the needs that I have and how I'm going to proceed with them to make sure that everything still gets done and it is not just something that's pushed away or like done halfway through, and making sure that it matches my standards and the standards of the people that I'm working with and working for. And it also depends on priorities. And I feel like board of directors and USAC is a huge priority for me. So when I feel like there are any conflicts and I feel like there is something in another club that I will not have enough time for, I believe that I have a very strong support system and great communication skills and time management, not to brag about it. But I feel like through those experiences, I've been able to work on those skills and I'll be able to communicate the needs that I have, get the support that I want, and be able to manage my time efficiently to get through everything that I have to get through.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Nico?
Hi, Vesta. Sorry, one more. What are some area of improvements you've seen within ASUCLA, and how do you plan to address these concerns if appointed today?
Wait, sorry, could you repeat the second part of the question again?
Yes. I'll just repeat all of it. What are some area of improvements you've seen within ASUCLA, and how do you plan to address these concerns if appointed today?
I feel like even though I'm going to go back to the representation and transparency, I feel like even though there is a lot of representation and it's been something that's improved significantly, and that there is more transparency, whether it's with budgets or actions, planning, things like that, I feel like it's still things that can definitely be improved, especially when it comes to representation, even though you have a very diverse body of like USAC representatives, things like that. It's still sometimes that I feel like not everyone is able to like voice their opinions enough and not everyone is communicated with enough, especially going back to the non-traditional students, because I feel like having a lot of transfer friends and international student friends, I can hear that they're not getting enough resources, they feel a little bit lost, and there's a lot of time pressure on them and they're not sure of how to proceed with those things and they don't think that they have enough access to resources. And I feel like that can always be something that is improved on. And once again, being able to provide different leaders and different representatives the space to be able to communicate those needs and actually bringing a spotlight to them and making sure that change is done is what matters. Communication is the best solution, I believe, to any problem. And once again, being able to communicate with different people will be a solution to that.
Oh, wait, can I?
Yep, Sherry, go ahead for our last question.
Sorry.
Last question.
My question is, ACCLA BOD is a key stakeholder in decisions regarding contracting, especially regarding ACCLA vendors and infrastructure. What is your understanding of BOD's role in these processes, and how will you center student experiences in these higher level, oftentimes confidential conversations?
I feel like, once again, every little thing that happens on this campus with any of those areas affects every student differently, and it affects the daily lives of students directly, no matter what kind of lifestyle, whether they're commuters, live on campus, anything alike. And I feel like understanding like the planning and the details that go through all of those changes and being able to see how that affects different groups and being able to once again talk to them about it, understanding how those changes will be affecting them and what issues or what positive values it will bring to the different students without mentioning things that again could be like confidential, things like that. Enough details where people understand what's going on and how. Like, wanna pass the.
You're good. You can finish.
Okay. Sorry, I lost my train of thoughts as well. But basically, once again, just like being able to provide as much detail as possible and needed to be able to make sure that the students understand how these things will affect them and what things will be happening that will be changing their daily lives, things like that. And being able to provide resources if in the case that like some change that's being made does affect a group of students negatively and does bring a huge change that they need to be able to navigate. And I think that would help it.
Last question, just a logistical question. So if you were to serve on BOD, you wouldn't be able to serve in any other USAC appointments, including CAC. So is that a position you are willing to give up in order to be on the board of directors?
Yes, and as I was applying for BOD, I made sure to take a stance back from CAC before I actually applied for that director, since this was my main priority.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vesta. We will now be moving on to your 1-minute closing statement. Whenever you're ready.
I just want to reinstate that I feel like as a Middle Eastern student, as an immigrant, I always grew up wanting to see more representation, for stories to be heard, for everyone to be represented. And I feel like being at UCLA, I've seen a lot of those changes. Even throughout high school, I always made sure to stand up for different communities and make sure to see those changes where everyone feels like they're a part of the school, the campus, anything that they go to. And I feel like being able to serve at this position, I'll be able to like create those changes. I care a lot about how every student feels, how they're heard, how they're seen. And it's not only about them being involved, but it's about their needs being met. And although it is tough to make sure that every student is represented, I don't think that it's impossible to be able to make those changes. And it is a one step at a time thing, but I believe that I have it in me and I have the intention to create those changes and to make UCLA a space where everyone feels even more welcome than they already do.
Thank you so much. We will now moving on to ARC recommendations.
So I will be presenting that. Vesta delivered an exceptional interview and presented a thoughtful, well-prepared application to ARC. Her direct experience with student organization finances and leadership, particularly through the Community Activities Committee, stood out, making her uniquely qualified to contribute meaningfully to the ASUCLA Board of Directors. Vesta demonstrated a strong grasp of the board's responsibilities and emphasized the importance of equitable resource distribution, transparency, and student-centered planning. Her commitment to centering marginalized voices, especially transfer, commuter, and student workers, was clear and compelling, and her answers reflected both personal insight and practical policy ideas. With a 2-0 to 2 vote, ARC enthusiastically recommends Vesta for this appointment.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to deliberations. This is a time period where you can share your opinions, and as well as if you voted abstain in the ARC recommendations. I'm going to hold everyone up to the same standards as we do in public comments. Please challenge ideas and not individuals, and please just be respectful and use respectful language. Yes.
Hi. Okay. So I personally voted yes during my ARC interview, and I appreciated Vesta trying to be as inclusive as possible. And I love that she mentioned commuters and not assuming that students are traditional four-year students. And she recognized that when it came to opportunities, first-year transfers are not seen in the same light as traditional third years or given the same opportunities. So I really appreciated the diversity of experience and just the different perspectives that she recognized within the interview.
Thank you. Then Sherry, then Joy.
I also voted yes in the ARC interview, and this was because of two specific points. The first one was we asked Vesta a question about the 2028 Olympics, and I thought she had one of the most comprehensive answers to that, and really was able to kind of talk about the intersection between a lot of different aspects, whether that's infrastructure or labor, and tie that all back to the fact that students are here after the Olympics and after any changes to infrastructure that are made. And the second point that I really, really liked about her ARC interview was we asked a question about like student workers and workers in general, and really appreciated kind of the initiatives and actionable ideas that she spoke about. One particular thing that, if you guys weren't able to read the interview notes, was she talked about like going into like workplaces and speaking with like student workers and meeting them where they're at, which I think is really important, especially for somebody who sits on a position like ACCLA BOD. So I voted yes.
Hi, Vesta. Thank you so much for coming tonight and speaking with us. I really enjoyed hearing your answers, and they were all so thorough, and I really appreciate that you put marginalized students at the forefront of every single one of your answers, and I'm excited to see what you do if appointed.
Nico?
Hi, Vesta. Since I have a personal connection to Vesta, I will be abstaining, but I'm happy with everything I heard today. Thank you.
Tommy?
I will say I was really impressed with Vesta's ARC interview. As Sherry was mentioning, a lot of these kind of questions, which may have been like that we added this year to the ARC interview that were a bit niche. I was really impressed by Vesta's ability to provide comprehensive answers that centered the diverse experiences of a bunch of student groups. I would just like to explain the reason like I abstained in the vote was just because Vesta worked in my office last year, but really excited to see the amazing work you do on BOD if appointed.
Thank you, Tommy. Jaya?
Yes, I agree with everyone is saying, especially the other people in our committee. Was, very impressed by the background experience she addressed, and also as someone who is a student worker and was previously in SLAP organizing body, the response she had to the student worker question was really what I was looking at was especially important to me and how she was gonna work with student workers. So I really appreciate that. I personally had to abstain because she's a personal relationship connected, but I support everyone who voted yes for her.
Thank you. Anyone else? Jonathan?
Hi, this is just a logistical note. When it comes to abstentions, you are more than welcome to abstain if you have a personal relationship with someone, but you do not have to. Your abstentions really, the main times you really have to abstain is when you have a direct financial conflict of interest. So unless Vesta is paying your rent, you don't have a
The bribing.
financial conflict of interest, but you are more than welcome to. I just wanted to put that note out there since this is your first appointment.
Okay.
No worries. Thank you, Jonathan. Anyone else before? Okay, if not, we will be moving on to a vote. Would anyone like to motion? Tommy.
I motion to approve Vesta Majub for a position on the ASUCLA Board of Directors. Do I list the 2 school years? Oh, for the 2025, 2026, and 2026, 2027 academic years.
I second.
Great. Tommy motions, Jaya seconds. All in favor? Oh, wait. Wait, what?
I seconded. I said I
Oh,
second.
my bad, my bad. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. No, you can say I second.
I second.
Perfect. How many motions, Harum seconds? All in favor, please raise your hands. You were abstaining. Oh, okay. Wait, what? Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3. With a vote to, oh, okay. With a vote of 14 to 0, Vesta is appointed to the ASUCLA Board of Directors. Congratulations. Our first appointment.
I just wanted to say thank you. I'm not going to take more of your time, but thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm so beyond excited for this.
Congratulations. Jonathan?
Yeah, just correction for the minutes. You missed an abstention. So 14 to 0 to 1. 13 to 0 to 1. Because
Who did I miss?
Nico.
Oh, sorry. I thought everyone abstained. Or I thought everyone didn't abstain.
13 to 0 to 1.
13 to 0 1. Perfection. Now we will be moving on to our second ASUCLA Board of Directors appointee. Again, just to break down, Sarai, you have a 1-minute introduction, and then you will be given a 15-minute question and answer period from council where they can ask you anything they probably didn't get from the Appointments Review Committee interview, and then you get a minute closing statement, and then the Appointments Review Committee will give their recommendations to the council on your interview. Afterwards, as you saw, deliberations will be given, and then we will vote. So whenever you're ready, you can get started on your 1-minute introduction.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarai Rojas, and I'm currently a second-year student here at UCLA, and I'm a political science major. I'm also a first-generation student and a proud Oaxaqueña. And those are kind of just some of the parts of my identity that help shape who I am as a leader and in my student advocacy. So in my time here at UCLA, in my first year, I served in the Gen Rep 3 office. And this year, I had the privilege of serving in the Gen Rep 1 office, where I served as student relations director. And a lot of my work has just been centered on amplifying student voices, and especially those of first generation and Latina students here on campus. Beyond that, I'm also involved in Swipe Out Hunger, which is a student org here that helps address college food insecurity, and Grupo Estudiantil Oaxaqueño, where I will be the external executive next year. And that's just the cultural organization here on campus that helps promote Oaxacan heritage. And yeah, these experiences kind of just show how like I'm already like working in community equity and helping uplift diverse voices. And I applied to the ASUCLA Board of Directors just because I believe that, within my time here and in general that, that
Finish your statement.
Okay, sorry. That we have to serve student voices, and that should be the primary focus on the ASUCLA Board of Directors.
Thank you. We will now be moving to our 15 question and answer period. Does anybody have the first question? Yes, Hiram?
Hi, I appreciate you accommodating the quick turnaround time for BOD and for like Vesta coming in person. I recognize that from the ARC interview that you bring in a unique perspective as a student worker with ASUCLA. So how do you think that you being a student worker has shifted your perspective on how you approach this role, and how will you center student worker voices during your time at BOD?
Yeah, so I think that obviously like being a student worker, I directly like know what the experience is like of student workers just balancing like the different academic needs and then also balancing work at the same time. So I think that my approach within that is really that, I have the lived experience and I understand what it's like. So I understand that you can feel like underappreciated and that you're not compensated for your work. So for me, that really means advocating for student wages within BOD. And also like just not within myself, but I also acknowledge that my voice is like not the only one that contributes to this, but my friends also work like are student workers, and like a lot of my friends work with me. But acknowledging that each of our needs are diverse, and just within like BOD, advocating for those needs and listening to the voices around me.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question? Sherry?
Oh, okay, it works now. ACCLA BOD is a key stakeholder in decisions regarding contracting, especially regarding ACCLA vendors and infrastructure. What is your understanding of BOD's role in these processes, and how will you center student experiences in these higher level, oftentimes confidential conversations?
Yes, so my understanding of this role is really that, of course, I'm going to advocate for student needs above all else. And even like when we're appointing people, I think that those need to reflect the diverse student needs. So even like within the people we hire, how are we making sure that people are included, and what voices are we excluding if we are, just so that like, we can work on that and see how we can really reflect the diverse student needs. And I think that like students' roles is really just, I think that like even in my time here at UCLA, I've been actively involved in student orgs. So just like interacting with the community, I think is really important, and being, like you said, some of these conversations may be confidential, but like if I am involved within these student spaces, I can get a better sense of just what students do expect. And like even if they may not directly be in these conversations, I can advocate within these spaces for them.
Nico?
Hello, thank you for coming out. My question is, ASUCLA brings in large amounts of revenue every year, and as a nonprofit, this income must be reinvested into the company. How do you plan to use your vote to ensure this income is used to uplift and support the student body?
Yeah, so again, I think my main thing is just that like being involved like within student body, just making sure that I am advocating for these student needs by and I think like how you said, like it's a large revenue, and really advocating and like being being firm in my stances. I understand that like ASUCLA is a bureaucracy, and that a lot of times you're going to have different voices coming in, but making sure that my stances are firm, and that I'm able to effectively communicate with leaders just to make sure that we can make compromises, but not even just compromises. I don't think that it should ever just be like one side doesn't get everything, but that the work doesn't end there. But after that, what can we do to make sure that these revenues are being allocated properly? Not just how we allocate them, but like beyond that, what happens with these funds once they are allocated and if they're being used in the ways that we allocated them to.
Anyone else? Okay.
International students are often excluded from key student services or programmings due to many constraints that we face. What would you do to make ASUCLA spaces and resources more accessible to them? And what are some formal mechanisms that you would uphold so that we have the same input in ASUCLA decision making?
Yeah, so I think again, like it's not about just saying that we'll listen to these voices, but really making intentional spaces for them. So I think that within that, it would have to be like a space that we make specifically to hear from international students and, like hear those perspectives directly, because that's, not just like listening to them, but actually showing that we're willing to make sacrifices, or not sacrifices, but willing to like make space for them. And, I think even just like within like my like own friends and stuff, I understand like the repercussions that international students face, and just being able to like hear these diverse student experiences and advocate for them.
Thank you so much. Yes, Talia?
Hi, thank you for being here with us today. Why did you decide, like of all things, like to apply for a spot on the board of directors, and why do you think you specifically would be a good fit to serve the student body?
Yeah, I think I specifically applied to like serve on the CCLA board of directors just because, I have been like involved in a lot of student government offices, so I understand like how things works. But I think that for ASUCLA, it's very specific in that, it's like an entity separate from UCLA, and it kind of works to like meet those demands that the university doesn't have. And, it even differs from USAC in that like it has like it's kind of like more of a top-down process, and like you may be like interacting more directly with these administrators. But I think for me, it just really means that I'm able to advocate on a broader level and, really help make sure that equity is apparent in these processes. And then, sorry, what was the second part of the question?
You kind of touched on it, but I guess like why you specifically would be the best fit for the role.
Yeah, I think that just because like I would be the best for the role, just because I think that one of my main things is also that I understand that like I'm not like my voice is just one of many, and that I, sorry, my voice is just one of many, and that like there's a lot of diverse student needs. So just that I'm able to listen to other people, and like up till now, that's what I've been doing, like really listening to diverse student perspectives.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, I know you talked a little bit about your experience as a student worker and also about an issue like raising student worker wages. So I'm sure you know that at the forefront of student labor is that issue, particularly with student organizers' work in raising wages. What concrete steps will you take to secure fair compensation for student workers? And specifically, how might you navigate the financial barriers that initiatives like these ones often face?
Yeah, so I think my main thing is that like a lot of times in these work,
in this work, like a lot of student voices are placed kind of like at the back of the agenda. And I think my main thing is that making sure when we are creating these agendas, my priority is to make sure that, we're advocating for student wages, that's at the top of the list and not at the bottom of the list, but, just actively making like sure that it's on the agenda and that it's not something we think about afterwards, but primarily.
Anyone else? Yes.
In your previous response, you mentioned that you prioritize making spaces for listening to international students and other communities. Can you give me a tangible example of what such a space would mean and what impact do you foresee from these spaces?
Yeah, so an example I can give is that this year serving in the Gen Rep 1 office, like one of the main projects that I took on was the Latina caucus, and that's something that I started in my my first year in the Gen Rep 3 office. And what that really like included was that we like actually really reached out to Latina orgs and like asked them to like come together to be able to share their opinions. And we like didn't just listen, but we took this to like HSI and expressed these needs directly to administrators. So I think in a similar manner, that's what it would look like for international students, being able to bring about a space that like directly like where they can directly voice their concerns and then not just like just listening to that as students, but also taking that directly to administrators. I think that's the same way we would do it. And I think something that's really important to highlight in that too is that when we made this space, we made sure that administrators were not present just because, like, especially like during these times and everything, it can be difficult to feel safe in these spaces, but just making sure that we were creating safe spaces for these voices.
Anyone else? Is that Nico?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello. What are some area of improvements you've seen within ASUCLA, and how do you plan to address these concerns if appointed today?
Yeah, so I think that I think within any organization, like there's a lot of different things you can improve, but I think most recently some of the, some of the issues that I've seen within UCLA are just like a lot of organizational issues. I want to touch on this briefly just because this past weekend, my club, Grupo Estudiantil Oaxaqueño, we had like an event, our Guelaguetza, which is like our main event every year. And we worked with ASUCLA throughout the entire year for that, just through budgeting and like the services we would have the actual day of. And they like made a lot of promises to us, and then the actual day of, like things were not set up for us, and it just made it hard for us to handle. But as students, we had done our best. So I think kind of just like I said, like these funds that we do have, making sure that they're allocated properly. What are students being charged for? And again, like what services are they actually getting? So I think it's just about making sure that we hold people accountable and ensure transparency in these processes, and that we work to actively improve student well-being.
Thank you so much. If not, we will be moving on to Sarai's 1-minute closing statement. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me here. And again, I just want to highlight that, like, I think through all the main things I highlighted is that, my work so far at UCLA and everything that I have done, as a student has been student-centered, and it's not just about talk, but I've actually made actionable change within my community. And I think that that's something I would continue if I was appointed to the ASUCLA Board of Directors, really just reflecting that there's a lot of diverse student needs and that always being willing to listen to these voices. And just again, that like there's a lot of marginalized students on campus, but really uplifting these voices. And yeah.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to ARC recommendations.
Sarai, am I pronouncing that right? Yeah. So Sarai presented a very impressive written statement, resume, and ARC interview. She brought a very unique and much needed perspective to the interview through her involvement as an ASUCLA student worker at Northern Lights and placed a strong emphasis on prioritizing student needs through the board of directors. She also brings into this position a wealth of experience when it comes to advocacy with previous experience in the Gen Rep 3 and Gen Rep 1 offices to amplify student voices, especially those from marginalized identities. She presented a strong understanding of the needs of our UCLA community, and ARC appreciated her drive to create actionable change through this position. We have no doubt that she will excel within this position and serve as a strong amplifying voice for our undergraduate students within the ASUCLA Board of Directors. With a 3-0-1 vote, ARC recommends Sarai for this appointment.
Thank you so much. We will now be moving on to deliberations. Same rules apply. I hold the council up to the same standards as public comment. Please use respectful language and as well as probably share why you voted yes or why you abstained if you want to. Yes.
I voted yes. I felt like your answers were very concise within your interview, but also mentioned like concrete details, which I really appreciated. I appreciated, again, I mean, transfer student representative. Like I like when people say good things about transfers and how they want to include transfers. I appreciated you bringing up like how you would open up forum for transfer students specifically to be heard and creating different initiatives to do so. So if appointed, I look forward to working with both you and Vesta actually to ensure that we can get more transfer student voices and representation up at ASUCLA BOD. And yeah, I really appreciated you for coming out today.
Sherry.
Yeah, I also voted yes. I think particularly because of your very clear answers regarding student labor and like support for workers in general. And particularly, I think that your experience as a student worker brings something that we don't have on BOD to the table. So yeah, voted yes.
Thank you. Tommy.
And then I abstained just because I would consider you my friend, but Jonathan just informed us that we don't have to abstain, so I will be voting yes. Amazing interview. I really believe that you bring a really unique perspective to the table, and it's about time we had more student worker representation in ASUCLA BOD. So excited to see all the amazing work you'll do if and when appointed.
Thank you. And Jaya.
I just really have to echo what everybody said, and also again bringing up the Slack experience, and also as a student worker, I just loved hearing everything you had to say, and I think that lived experience will really bring so much to ASUCLA BOD, and that is why I voted. That's why I will be voting yes.
Thank you. We will now be moving on to a vote. Would anyone like to motion? Yes, Tommy.
I motion to approve the appointment of Sarai Rojas to the ASUCLA Board of Directors as the alternate position for the 2025, 2026, and 2026, 2027 academic year.
Second.
Seconds. Joy. Tommy motions. Joy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against? All abstaining? With a vote to 13 to 0, Sarai Rojas is approved to ASUCLA Board of Directors as an alternate member. Congratulations.
Like, I don't have much to say. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Congratulations. And we will all look forward to working with you too in the next upcoming year. And yeah, our first appointments, guys. Congratulations. Now we will be moving on to officer reports. I'll be really quick. Actually, no, yeah, sorry. Yeah, actually, yeah, I will only be requesting the 3 execs and academic affairs commissioners, just for the sake of time. So for me, you can check out my officer report. Yeah, fast, sorry, y'all.
Yeah, gonna keep it written for today, folks.
Sherry.
Mine is also written. Just one thing that I want to shout out is Transfer Leadership Fair, which Harem will also talk about a little more. Friday, 5 to 7. And if you haven't confirmed with us that you will be there, or if you want to be there, please let us know because we would love to have you. We're sending out confirmation emails. Like, oh, I forgot about. Okay, yeah. About transfer leadership fair? So basically we're having like virtual tabling event for incoming transfers or current students to learn more about leadership positions and application timeline for different advocacy policy related organizations, particularly USAC offices. I think I've reached out to most people, but if I haven't reached out to you yet and you want to, have a breakout room to virtually table whatever that looks like for you, a presentation, Q&A session, whatever you want it to be, just text me and we will talk about it. And you can have a breakout room. And we're going to send out confirmation emails just to all the organizations who are participating. So like tomorrow. So yeah, that's my only update.
Thank you, Chris.
My officer report will be completely written. Thank you.
Yay. Orlando? Finish your cookie.
Sorry about that. Just one quick update, and I will put it in the chat. The signatory changes for USAC offices should use this particular form. Don't worry about going through My UCLA. Just fill this out, and it'll get to us, and we'll be able to make those updates for you. But I'll drop it in the chat.
Thank you. Lorelai?
Hello, everyone. Okay, first and foremost, most important thing for the year is that rec deadline is again the 20th for just any spring requisitions, and then the 27th for any commencement related activities. Jessica wants you all to know that we will be turning off the link. The link will no longer be accessible on the USAC website. So it's a hard deadline. You will not be able to submit late because there will be no form to submit to. So make sure that all the orgs that you're part of have submitted their recs by that deadline, and anyone and everyone that you know knows that. Beyond that, everyone should be added to the Slack, excluding Joy, which I'll connect with offline. But if you do have any issues with the Slack currently, please connect with me, and I can help you out with that. Everyone should have office access at this point. If you do not, please contact me, and I can help you with that. And then beyond that, deadline for submitting your headshots is this Friday. So please email that to me if you haven't already. I think there's 3 of you that I'm still waiting on. And that's all I have for tonight.
Lori?
First off, I had a wonderful time with you guys this weekend. I thought it was really great. It was nice to get to know you a little bit personal, a little bit commission. I look forward to all year long. 3 of you are not in the birthday club. So after the meeting, I need birthdays from Joy, Talia, and Sherry, unless you don't want to be in the birthday club. Some of the links to your officer reports I do not have access to, so make sure they're public because I do read them. And then I brought my business cards for you guys so you can find me, call me. I would say beat me, but you don't know what that means. That's it.
Thank you. Jonathan?
Hey, hi, hello, all. Orlando, could you put that link in the Slack? Thank you. A couple things from me today. First, I don't know if you all get them yet or not, but the Around ASUCLA newsletter came out the other day, and a big congrats to your Academic Affairs Commissioner, Chris Espino, for being featured for his prestigious scholarship that he won, and for the work that he's going to do with that money this coming year. I sent a handful of you some lost and found items from this weekend. If you were on that email, please let me know if you'd like your things back. This is the last week for you to let myself or Lorelai know if you are going to need any accommodations this summer in terms of your office. Again, the singular Kirchhoff elevator will be down all summer. It will be back up come academic year, but if you need accommodations, please let us know. And if you need to move anything that may require the elevator, this week and next week are your last opportunities to do so. If you do not have access to your official email account, please see me after. We will reset the password and give it to you. You should have access to that by now. And speaking of that, we will no longer be sending anything to your personal email. We will no longer be sending anything to your elect emails. You are all official, so we will only be using your official emails. A reminder to work with your predecessor to get any bills paid, any surplus put out. Again, any bills that are left become your responsibility. Summer parking permit, I will reply back to that email again as confirmation, but you're welcome to send that to anyone in your office. If they need a summer parking permit, we have plenty left. Or if you need one, go ahead and fill the form out too, and you'll still probably get one. I think there are a couple of you left that have yet to do their one-on-ones with me, so come spend some time with me. Let's hang out. And then there are a handful of you that we are missing either or both module set 1 or module set 2 from. Both of those are overdue at this point. So you will be getting individual emails from me tomorrow probably. And starting at your next meeting, I will be calling you all out by name. Yay, that's right. And then last but not least, if you have yet to, well, first you need to finish your module set 1 before you can do so. But once you finish your module set 1, please submit your application and interview materials for HR review. Again, a reminder, you are not allowed to release any applications without HR approval. If you have already submitted that, particularly for those that submitted last week, HR has let me know that they will get those back to you this week. And that's all I have.
Don't worry, guys. I was called out so many times. So, but please don't do it last minute because I remember just struggling on the tax one, on the tax module. Great. Now we will be Oh wait, Peter. Was Peter here? No. Okay, great. There is no old business, so we will be now moving on to new business. We'll be discussing appointments and committees. First, we will begin with the appointment search committee that has 3 council members, appointees, or not appointees, members. Jonathan, how should I start this? Should I just ask, like, Ray?
It's vibes, however you'd like to do it.
Okay,
Yeah, I
great.
trust in your
Yes.
abilities.
Tommy, would you like to share about,
I emailed these all out. Oh my.
you know,
Okay, let me go again. Let me find my email so I can read word for word. And
in the meantime, we'll be discussing summer hours, so please start thinking about your availability over summer, and come up with like clear availability of when you'll be available and if you'll be outside of North America at what time, just so you're ready when you get called on.
yeah, does anyone see my email? I literally sent that
No,
out.
no, no. Just think about it. Write it down so it's good. No, don't say it right now. Just so that when we get to the item, you're not lost. Yes.
Found it. Yay. Okay. So ASC consists of 3 council members. ASC is responsible for searching and fulfilling ways or finding ways to recruit qualified applicants for various appointments. Council will determine which positions ASC should actively recruit for. ASC can also make recommendations to council regarding appointments. This committee's central goal is to effectively recruit qualified applicants to USAC's various appointed positions. Please review Article 2, Section 1 for the bylaws to be more specific. I will say, last year, our appointment search committee, we wasn't really active. That being said, for whoever wants to search on the appointment search committee, over this summer, I'm going to be asking you all to fill out a spreadsheet of how many people you have contacted or like made an effort to reach out to each week. Because it is my goal, mark my words, to have all and every single one of these appointments filled by the time the school year starts. So, yeah. So,
Campaign platform.
oh, so yeah, so just know that this year, even though last year appointment search committee didn't really do anything, you will be doing stuff this year. So, yeah.
Okay, now raise your hand and I'll call on you if you're interested. Just raise your hand if you're interested, please. Okay, Brad. Okay, that's a good start. Thank you, Brad. And transfer inclusivity right here.
Well,
Yes.
that was going to be my point.
Okay, there you go.
I feel like as a transfer student, I'm involved in these spaces, and I feel like it's important to be targeting transfers. I think a lot of the committees, it's a really great way for first-year transfers to get involved in USAC and like UCLA in general. I mean, I was on UGC this past year, and so it really exposed me to, faculty, admin, kind of the bureaucracy of it all. So I think, hope to use my connection to these spaces to get more transfers involved.
Beautiful. Anyone else? Don't you guys want to see a very diverse list of appointees this year? Bring your experiences, bring your positions.
I know I can't volunteer, but I just want to throw it out there that I'm happy to meet with the search committee to identify places other than social media to push out.
Beautiful.
There's tabling opportunities at orientation, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of things happening on campus, even through summer in person, and to connect with departments to help you recruit. So I'm happy to do that once the committee is appointed.
Thank you, Lori. I will also be available over the summer. I will be here for basically the entire summer. So I will want to be tabling at like orientations, at a lot of these events. And if you'll be also here, at least in SoCal for the summer, and just coordinate with me. Anyone else?
Commissions already have a lot of appointments and you want to help find people for them. So kill two birds with one stone.
Can I join this committee? Okay, I nominate myself. So Brett and I, come on.
Does anyone want to hang out with
You
us
want me to
this
explain?
summer?
Okay, I mean, I'm the president. I don't know.
I think we're pretty cool, so.
Yeah, come on. Who wants to join? Come on. No peer pressure.
Okay, I'll do it. Yes, I nominate myself because one of my platforms was to get Black and Indigenous communities involved in USAC, and that is what I will be doing. Supporting my communities, yes.
Thank you. So that's 3 of us. We can close that off. Because no one else wanted to join. So exclusive club now. Yes. Okay. We'll be coordinating with you, Lori and Jessica. Thank you so much. Yes. Use Slack and email for records. Just kidding. No. What was I gonna say? Next. Yes. Oh wait. Do we have to motion? No, or just no?
You do, but you can do them all at once.
Okay. Can you motion? Yes, please.
I motion to approve Jaya, Diego, and Brett as the 3 members of the Appointment Search Committee for the 2025-2026 academic year.
Second.
Tommy motions and who seconds? Joy. Please raise your hands for yes. Yes. Please lower your hands. Please raise your hands for a vote if you're voting no. Sorry, against. All abstaining with the votes at 13 to 0 to 0. That is approved. Those are the members of the Appointment Search Committee. Now we will be moving on
We're gonna have so much fun.
to the Budget Review Committee. Tommy, can you give a description of the Budget Review Committee?
Yes, sir. So the Budget Review Committee consists of the Budget Review Director, the Assistant Budget Review Director, the FICOM Chair, and 3 council members, you all. So the Budget Review Committee is responsible for ensuring all budgets are in accordance with ASUCLA/UCLA guidelines, reviewing all figures, and ensuring budgets are in accordance with the correct line item accounts presented by SGA. BRC also reviews expense line items so that they may be capped at a specific amount. Please review Article 7, Section B12 of the USAC bylaws for more information.
Jonathan?
Yeah, the actual main role of the budget review committee is to run the BOD funding body. I'll be honest, you don't really do anything with budgets.
Okay, nice. Come on.
Something.
Nico?
So yes, as Jonathan said, I read this last year and I was like, whoa, review budgets, and then turns out it's a funding body. So I just wanted to give like a more apt description because something that I may be working on is changing these bylaws since they're very outdated to make the budget review committee's description be of what it actually does. Because I was on this committee last year, and let me tell you, I did not look at people's budgets. So it's still fun though. I still enjoyed it, but it was just not what I expected. But last year, the budget review committee worked with the budget review director, which is an appointment from Diego's office, on and we helped oversee the USA/BOD programming funding body, which is a very heavily applied to funding body and a very underfunded funding body. So if you're interested in being on a funding body, this is the committee for you. I recommend it for any commissioners who don't already have a funding body within their office. I don't have a funding body within my office. So even though I wasn't reviewing budgets as I thought I was, I still had a lot of fun because overseeing a funding body, I think, is a really important part of being on council. You get to work with a lot of student orgs. You get to like allocate funding. So yes, the main like workloads are it's once per quarter we sit down and allocate money. And then after that allocation, you kind of just float until the next allocation. Sometimes the budget review director needs extra support and we are there to support them, but we aren't signatories, so we're not able to sign recs or like, actually that's it, we're not able to sign recs. Like I did a lot of communication with the budget review director towards clubs, but yes, I just wanted to point out that the bylaws are a little outdated, so I will be working to update these bylaws. So if anyone wants to work with me to update them, hit my line. And then also I do volunteer to be on this committee again.
Thank you. We need 2 more people. Talia?
I was really inspired by what Nico had to say. And I think in the Gen Rep office, I'm going to be working with a lot of student orgs, so I want to be as knowledgeable as possible and involved where I can be about like seeing where funding goes. And also like if that relates to kind of your BOD transparency thing, I think that would be very cool to be involved in. So I nominate myself.
Thank you. And then we need 1 more person. I think I saw a hand. I think I saw a hand in this area. Yes. No. No.
I do it too much in here.
Okay, yeah, no, maybe not Jaya. Just kidding. Maybe another representative. Okay.
Remind me what this committee did, because I did email Nico on talking about BOD. So if no one else will do it, I will do it.
No one else.
No, but I love you, Nico.
It's like once a quarter, it's like a lot. And then other than once a quarter.
Okay, once a quarter. Okay.
Wait, sorry.
I nominate myself.
Yay!
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
actually excited to
We're very brave.
excited to change the BOD guidelines to be more equitable and address SP's concerns. So that's why I nominate myself.
Can someone motion, please? Yes, go ahead.
Me? Okay. Hello. I motion to appoint Nico, Talia, and Jaya to the Budget Review Committee for the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
A second.
2 seconded.
Me.
Oh, okay. Our motions, Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against, all abstaining with a vote of 14 to 0, that is approved. Next, we will be moving on to the Constitutional Review Committee. Tommy, can you please read the description for that one?
Yes, so CRC consists of 3 to 5 council members. The chair is designated by council or a majority vote by CRC. CRC reviews, investigates, and recommends changes to the USAC bylaws, constitution, and election code. CRC also suggests changes to the ASUCLA BOD bylaws and constitution. Please review Article 5, Section B of the USAC bylaws for more information.
Thank you. Yes. Miriam?
Question. So the chair of this committee will be decided after we choose the members of this committee?
I believe so.
Okay.
Correction, Jonathan? Or yes?
I wrote an entire essay for why I want to be on CRC. Can I read it?
Oh, for time's sake, can you read like half of it?
Okay, yeah, sure. I believe that I am most qualified for Constitutional Review Committee due to my extensive experience in different USAC offices this school year, including the 5 I always talk about. And while I'm new to this position as a voting member on council, I am not new to the change processes of USAC bylaws, constitutions, and election code. This quarter, I was weirdly present at the majority of council meetings that discuss changes to the elections code because of my passion project presentations, and I drafted multiple bylaw changes on behalf of other offices. Because of my varied experiences, I have a great understanding of specific commissions and offices bylaw sections outside of just the transfer student representatives. I've also read the entirety of the bylaws, all 107 pages, on more than one occasion, which is kind of embarrassing to admit out loud. I've also been meeting with each commissioner one-on-one, which a lot of you here can attest to. I've been doing that in order to better understand the structure of the offices I didn't have the privilege of participating in this school year. So I can assure you that there aren't many people out there that understands USAC's structure better than me. I'm truly like a USAC nerd. So get me on there.
Thank you. Thank you. Tommy? Oh, Tommy and then Kale.
Yep, I'm also throwing my name in there. I've done a lot of work introducing bylaws, even some bylaws that ultimately got our resources first referendum passed. That was big. I've also been very vocal about bylaws. I'm sure as you heard in a lot of the meetings pertaining to bylaws last year, I had a lot to say. So I will also have a lot to say this year. But yeah.
I nominate myself because I have a lot of experience in just like doing bylaw related work. As vice president of a pre-law fraternity, I was responsible for maintaining and making changes to the bylaws. And I think that term we made more changes than ever before. And we passed more changes to the bylaws than ever before. I also fully from scratch wrote and drafted the whole bylaw document for the club that I established at UCLA. So this is something I'm kind of used to, and yeah, I'll like, keep it short, but that's what I think I should be.
Thank you. Thank you. That's it. We've just needed, wait, sorry. Oh, Divine, yes.
Hi, yes, I would like to nominate myself to join QRC. I just really want to ensure that like the bylaws are transparent, equitable to the needs of the student body, and I've been really looking forward to joining. So I would love to name myself.
Thank you, Divine. Anyone else? We have one more spot. Okay, if not, can someone motion, please, to appoint these council members? Yeah, Joe.
I motion to appoint Divine, Tommy, Kaya, and Hiram on the Constitutional Review Committee for the upcoming academic year for 2025, 2026.
Second.
Jaya motions, Joy seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, all abstaining. With the votes of 14 to 0, that is approved. Those members are appointed. Next, we will be moving on to Office Space Allocation Committee. Jonathan, how many members are there? Is it 4 or 5?
Oh, let me check. One of them is FAC, but by default, one's president and one's FAC by default, and then I want to say there's 2 more.
Remember, it was Mona and Tamim.
Yeah, I think it's 4 total, but I'll double check.
Okay. Well, obviously, I'm going to be serving on OSAC. Joy. Joy, you don't need to explain.
I can also give a little bit of background
Okay,
on
go ahead.
OSAC. It stands for the Office Space Allocation Committee, and you're overseeing and administrating the reallocation of space in Kirkhoff. So just governs how organizations receive office locker and mailbox spaces.
I was like, I thought you were going to explain why you're going to join. No, okay, you're good. Yeah, basically, like, you're going to be reading application on why people should be getting space in Kirkhoff. So, yeah, Jonathan?
Yes, confirm that the FAC is the chair, president serves on it, and then there's three additional spaces. And again, this is an allocation year, so there is application reading to be done this year.
Yes. So you will be evicting people. Just kidding.
It's true.
It is true. No, you will. It is true. Okay. Yes, Kale. Please be brief.
As international student representative, my office needs to maintain diplomatic relations with a lot of cultural clubs, which I believe will be very helpful to this committee.
Beautiful. Brett.
I nominate myself, and for the interest of time, that's it. I just think I think I should be on it
No, it's great.
since no one else wants
Okay.
to as well.
Well, Yedison.
Hello. I nominate myself as well.
Yes. No, it's five. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Then that meets our cap. Can someone motion, please?
I motion to approve Joy, Diego, Kaya, Brett, and Edison to the OSAC committee for the 2025-2026 academic year.
Second.
Oh my gosh. Tommy seconds, Hiram. Tommy motions, Hiram seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against. All abstaining with a vote to 14 to 0 to 0. That is approved. Congratulations, OSAC. Next, we will be moving on to our resolution calling for the recognition of National Gun Violence Awareness Day at UCLA. For the sake of time, please be brief, Tommy.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be so brief. So basically, this resolution is calling for June 6th to be recognized as Gun Violence Awareness Day at UCLA. And yeah, we encourage you all to wear orange on that day in honor of that. But does anyone have any questions? All right. Oh. All right, then I motion to approve a resolution calling for the recognition of National Gun Violence Awareness Day at UCLA.
I second.
Second? Oh, nice. Tommy motions, Hiram seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Please lower your hands. All against, all abstaining with the votes of 14 to 0 to 0. That is approved. Next, we will be moving on to our discussion on USAC summer hours. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to speed run this. So yeah, this is gonna be the fun part. Basically, during summer hours, it's going to be a new, obviously, new quarter, new like academic year, I guess you could say. So we can discuss on how often we want to meet. If you guys want to meet once a week, twice a week. Last year we met twice a week. Bi-weekly. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. My bad. Once a week? No, sorry. Weekly or bi-weekly? Oh my gosh. I'm like, we can meet 3 times a week. No, weekly or bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly.
Exactly. Okay. Let's just can we just raise your hands? I don't know. Raise your hands if you want weekly. Okay, raise your hands if you want bi-weekly. Okay, beautiful. Who will be outside of North America for a significant amount of time during summer break? Can I ask, Kaya, how long you will be, where you will be and how long you'll be there for?
For the last month and a half of summer, I will be in the United Arab Emirates, which is a 12-hour time difference.
Okay, and Edison?
From the end of June until September, I'll be in Singapore, which is a 15-hour time difference.
Okay, wait. Divine and then Chris.
From June 22nd to July 19th, I'll be in Paris, which is a 9-hour time difference.
Wait, from when to when again?
June 22nd to July 19th.
Chris?
Wait, I'll also be in Paris from like the beginning of July to the second week of July. Sorry, y'all, I'm tired. Um, the
We're all
first
going
two
to Paris, I
weeks.
guess.
And then for a month after that, I'll be in Dubai. And then after that, I'll be in Africa. I don't know the time differences, but it's okay. We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Um, would you like, would everyone like for our first council meeting of the summer to be this June 24th? Work with everyone? Tommy?
I know it's like a bit traditional to like have a bit of a break at the beginning of summer, give like our administrative reps a break and like also you all a break. So like I feel like it's the beginning, not necessarily a lot is going on right now in summer. So maybe taking a break at the forefront rather than doing it somewhere else in the summer would probably be the smartest choice. But yeah, let me know what y'all think.
Okay. So I'm still hearing June 24th. What was your proposed date? Okay, in the meantime, who else wanted to raise their hand? Talia?
Yeah, but it just like I guess depends on the break, like how long you had in mind.
Yeah, so if we meet June, like let's say that we meet June 24th, we would be meeting not July 1st, but July 8th, and then 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks until the school year starts.
Like, is he like Tommy? Are you suggesting like we start later than the
I
24th?
was proposing, I think if I remember correctly, last year we started like that first Tuesday in July. Like July 1st. Yeah, so like a week after what Diego said.
Hold up. Jonathan, do you have opinions?
You should meet in June.
I personally
You're
agree
going to have
too.
a lot of appointments. Think when you think about this, you're going to meet every other week, right? Summer is when you're going to do all of your appointments. Appointments are going to be the vast majority of your meetings this summer. So the more you push it off, the much longer of singular meetings you will have.
I agree. I think last year we had academic senate appointments that just were like bunching up into one meeting, and it was like I was on the Eastern time zone and I would fall asleep like at 1 a.m. So that's not what you want. And then I feel bad, obviously, for folks who are not going to be in like a North American time zone. So with that said, if there is no any strong opposition against June 24th being our first meeting, okay, yeah, Edison.
I'm thinking I will be on a flight on June 24th for the whole day.
Okay, no worries. You can send a representative to council.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, proxy. Okay. No one else has any strong oppositions to June 24th being our first council meeting? Great. So obviously it's a Tuesday. Pacific time zone is 7 p.m. What are the time zones? What time is 7 p.m. Pacific time zone for the time zones you guys will be in? I don't know.
7 a.m.
Oh, okay, it's not bad.
That's why I was gonna suggest either doing like this, keeping the time the same, or I think last year what we did was we moved it up by an hour. It was 6 p.m. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, wait, hold up. Can you please use your mic so we can?
7 a.m. US time?
7 p.m.
Wait, no, I'm
No.
so our 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Pacific
Unless
time
you
zone.
want to meet at 7 a.m. for you. That's.
No.
I'm just checking. I'm just checking to make sure I don't have to wake up early.
Okay. Listen.
I think the issue is that I'll be working full time in Singapore. So 7 p.m. Californian time is 10 a.m. in Singapore. So that will be like during my working hours. So it's like I probably like if we stick with that time, I probably can't be present in USAC meetings until the end of July. Yeah.
Okay. Jonathan.
I mean, it is the unfortunate sense that just the way that you all are, it's unlikely that you're going to find a date and time that works for all 15 of you. So that is why your quorum requirement goes down. That should be the next thing you talk about. But yeah.
I think Edison, for the most part, like from personal experience this summer, meetings are mostly like academic senate appointments, obviously other appointments, just like budget confirmations. But I mean, I personally like if you need to send a proxy, but as long as we meet quorum, I think we should be good. But I mean, like you said, the end of July.
Yeah. Wait, just to clarify, Jonathan, for the proxy, the only difference is that they can't vote on anything, right?
Correct, and they don't count for your attendance.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, but what does the stipend look like? Like, will he still be like getting his stipend?
It's 1/3 of the scheduled meetings. I don't know. I'd have to do the math on that right now. Give me a second.
Okay. In the meantime, while we wait for Edison, does anybody else? Wait, I think I saw someone online. Divine, I don't know, like Chris to 7 p.m. What does that look like for you guys in your time zone?
While I'm in Paris, that'll be 4 a.m. for me. But I honestly would rather I'm okay with sticking to 7 p.m. since it'll be bi-weekly. I think I'd only have to do that twice, which I'm okay with doing, or even if we push it back to 8 p.m., but that'll be 5 a.m. for me. But I'm totally okay with keeping it at our usual 7 p.m. time.
I would prefer 6 p.m. or 5 p.m., but 7's fine too.
I think if we're pushing it forward to like 5 or 6, I can pull it off. Like I can be here, but like if it's at 7, my attendance is probably low, but like I'm okay with that as well. Yeah.
Jonathan?
I will wake up.
Sorry. Okay, Jonathan first, and then Kaya.
You can miss 3 meetings this summer before your stipend is affected.
Okay, now Kaya.
If we need to move it up to 5 or 6, I'll wake up.
So what does this look like? Take a vote.
Wait,
Well, Tommy.
Edison, you said you're fine with either 5 or 6, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Wait, what time? You said you're good with 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Pacific time zone, right?
Yeah, so 5 p.m. in LA, right? Yeah.
What time zone? What time would it be for your end?
It's like 8 a.m. So it's like it's just before I get to work.
So would you be like on your phone during work?
As
Okay.
in, I'll be like traveling to work, so I'll just be on my phone, like logging
Okay.
onto Zoom. Yeah.
I just don't want you to get in trouble.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, and then Kale, what times is that for you?
6
AM?
a.m.
And then I'm gonna assume that works for Divine and Chris as well. Oh,
Yeah,
wait, sorry,
it's
sorry,
for
Jonathan.
5 a.m. here time is 5
Oh,
a.m. your time, right?
5 p.m. here is 5 a.m. my time. 6 p.m. here, 6 a.m. my time.
12 hours.
Just 12 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Div-
works. That works for me too, Diego. It's 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. my time, which is great. That would be good.
Divine?
It's 2 a.m. for me. I'll make it work.
Well,
Okay, wait. Actually, like, I think even if we move it forward, I think it'll be difficult for me to confirm my attendance. I think we should just keep it at 7 then for everyone else. Yeah.
so 7 p.m.
Yeah, just keep it at 7 for everyone else. I think like 5 or 7, it will still be difficult for me to make it. So I think it's fine. Yeah.
Would you be on your phone at 10 a.m.? Could you be on your phone at 10 a.m.?
I think it depends on the days that I'm working, because some days I'm going into like restricted areas where I don't have my phone. So yeah.
I just don't want you to lose your stipend.
Um, I'll try to like not go beyond the 3 missing meetings. I think. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I think it's bi-weekly. I think it's fine. I should be able to like not be more than 3. Yeah.
Okay, so Divine?
If need be, I really am okay if we make it earlier at 5 p.m. Pacific, just because I'd only be in Paris twice, and I don't know about Edison's situation, but it kind of sounds like you'll be in Singapore a lot longer. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Like just I think it's just cause my work schedule like isn't firmed up yet. So like I'm not too sure how the bi-weekly thing will match up. But I honestly think like we should just go with the 7 p.m. Yeah.
Okay. So if there's no strong opposition, 7 p.m. it is. Can someone please motion begin meetings? Jonathan?
Your quorum too. You need to.
So how many is quorum?
Historically, it's 8. It needs to be a minimum of 8.
Okay. Can I just keep it at 8? Yeah. Okay. Tommy?
I was gonna motion.
Okay, perfect. Can you motion?
I motion to set our summer meetings. Oh,
Jonathan?
Will you also motion that you're going to do fully online?
yeah.
Okay. Well,
I motion to make our summer meetings fully online and bi-weekly, starting with our first meeting on June 24th, setting quorum at 8 council members present.
Second.
I'm gonna do Brett seconded. Tommy.
Oh, at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Tommy motions. Brett seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All against? All abstaining with a vote to 14 to 0 to 0. That is confirmed. I now adjourn this meeting. Wait. Okay, we cannot take this offline.